Good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of Reconstructing Minds in partnership with Positive Lifestyle Management and Project Righteous Endeavors. My name is Brother Shantario, aka Brother Midnight. Um, Tonight's subject, we're going to be talking about honoring your word. Honoring your word. A lot of times we say a lot of things and we obligate ourselves to certain ventures, and sometimes we don't do it. And I'm not even going to say sometimes, I'm going to say a lot of times we don't do the things that we're supposed to do because we choose not to honor our word. So this evening, I'm going to be coming from one of our letters. This letter came out September 7th, 1987. And on this particular subject, it's talking about words of wisdom. And the letter itself is entitled, My Word is My Word, My Bond. My Word, My Bond. So, brothers and sisters, this is kind of a sensitive subject, but a subject that needs to be much discussed so we can remember that when we say we're going to do something, we should follow it out. Reading from the first paragraph in My Word, My Bond. When someone says, yes, I will, no, I won't, I do, yes or no, this person is usually giving his, her word to a particular someone or something. When someone gives their word, they are giving up something of value, something personal or important to them. They are, in essence, saying, you can hold me to that, or I commit myself to that particular someone or something. A person gives their word to show they can be trusted. In other words, brothers and sisters, we need to remember when we tell someone we're going to do something, or we commit ourselves to do something for someone, we should honor our word. Your word is your bond. You stand on that word. You stand firm on your obligation. Even in the literature, we state certain things, like we believe, I pledge. Those things are synonymous with your word being your bond. Right now, we're in the middle of a campaign, Free Larry Hoover Sr. now. Your word is your bond. If you commit yourself to anyone or anything, your word is your bond. Some of us even make promises that we can't keep. But at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, your word is your bond. Just simply honor your word. Now, the key word in that third sentence, it says, they are in essence. The word essence, brothers and sisters, means the quality or qualities of a thing that give its identity, the intrinsic and indispensable properties of a real thing, or the most important or effectual or crucial element. The inherent unchanging nature of a thing or class of things, as distinguished from its attributes or its existence. An extract of a substance that retains its fundamental or most desirable property in concentrated form. Such an extract is in a solution of alcohol, a perfume or scent, an existing thing, especially a special or incorporeal entity. So in other words, even though essence has many different definitions, the key definition I want to talk about is number 5, an existing thing, especially a special or incorporeal entity. Essence represents a spiritual side or something, or the very true nature. So when we say we're going to do something, brothers and sisters, in essence of what we say, we should follow through that obligation. When we stand for something, we have to honor our word. We have to honor our word. When we say that we are a positive and productive people, we have to honor that word. We believe that we are a special group of people with integrity and dignity. We have to honor our word. Integrity is another word for honesty. Let's continue to read. It says, when a person commits themselves, for example, to a baseball team, job, school, or a particular organization or a group of people, you are saying you will not default on this. If a person defaults on his word, they are usually ashamed, embarrassed, or looked down at. We took on the concept of organization. Organization is a unified and consolidated group of people with an executive structure that deals with the well-being of all its people. It's an executive structure of business and enterprise for individual growth and collective acceleration of the body as a whole. That word default. We need to be careful if we default from honoring our word. Your word is your bond. Default means this. Default is a failure to perform a task or fulfill an obligation, especially failure to meet a financial obligation. To fail to do what is required. Do we really know what is required of us? Right now, there is no greater or no important matter of significance, more important right now than freeing Mr. Larry Hoover Sr. He needs us now more than ever. And for those of us who are representing gangsterism, falling into the old ways, the old way of doing things, we need to let that stuff go. Back in the time when The old man was at Statesville and with all the originals, they stood on their word. They led by example. No matter what the situation was, they led by example, and they taught those who were under them at that time to honor their word. They always left those original students with words of wisdom that could help them through life. And the same thing that applied to them is the same thing that applies to us right now in 2021. We have an obligation, brothers and sisters, to free Larry Hoover Sr. now. Put pressure on the United States representatives. Put pressure on the senators. Put pressure on the Congress. Put pressure on the House of Representatives. Put pressure on the governor. Put pressure on the mayor. Put pressure on those who are in authority, whether in a local government, state government, or federal government. We have an obligation, brothers and sisters, to free our beloved Mr. Larry Hoover Sr. There is no other greater opportunity than right now. There is no greater opportunity right now. So if you're out there and you scream in his name and you being positive and productive in his name, do what is necessary, brothers and sisters. Honor your word. Your word is your bond. I'm not saying be a wild radical, not differentiating from the 80s and the 60s. I'm talking about doing things in a positive and productive manner, standing firm on what you believe, following the teachings of the blueprint, living in the vision, doing the work. Doing the work. Mr. Larry Hoover Sr. deserves another chance. Gregory Shells deserves another chance. Jeff Fort deserves another chance. All the ghetto political prisoners deserve another chance. And no, I don't know Mr. Larry Hoover Sr. personally, but you know how I get to know him? By following what he has prescribed in the blueprint, by standing firm on the literature, by governing myself according to the law and policies. That's how I get to know him. In one of the awareness sessions, Kicking It on the G, which G stands for gallery, Brother Tank said that he's one of the most humble people that a person could ever meet. And I look forward to seeing him someday. Some of us want him out. Some of us are in between. Honor your word, brothers and sisters. Your word is your bond. We must be willing to accept responsibility for him and share responsibility with him. He's doing time for us. So why not in turn do that which is needed to see him free? See him home with his wife, his children, his grandchildren, See him free with the people who love him the most. Honor your obligation to the organization. We must show him that we love him by doing things in a positive and productive manner and standing for the truth. If we say we are for growth and development, we stand on the teachings of growth and development, we must do those things that are conducive to elevating our lives, setting a standard for the younger people, showing these young kids that you don't have to be out here killing one another. You don't have to be out here slanging drugs. You can make money in a legit way. You can own your own business. You can be a responsible parent. You can be a good mother. You can be a good father. Honor your word, brothers and sisters. Honor your word. As we continue to read, no responsible individual with self-respect will allow upon himself the type of degradation and humiliation. Let's look at this word, degradation. Degradation is the act or process of degrading, specifically a disposition, removal, and dismissal from rank or office, a reduction in worth or standing, a process of transition from a higher to a lower quality or level. Humiliation is the act of being humiliated, degradation, disgrace, and shame. We see what our political prisoner and master of the vision is going through. Not only him, but those who are caught up in that indictment with him. Some of them have been released home. We see what degradation, disgrace, and shame and all these things can do to us if we're not careful. Let us honor our words. So a person of dignity will be aware and take the initiative to guard himself and say, is my word my bond? Can I be relied upon and trusted? Do you give your all 100% to your commitments? If you do, then it's because of your dignity and loyalty to yourself and your cause. Always be sincere when giving your word. Be a person to yourself and one that can be relied upon and trusted. Always be the type of individual whom people can look upon and say, there goes a person you can count on. Make your word your bond. Dignity. Dignity, brothers and sisters, means this. Dignity is the presence of poise and self-respect in one's deportment to a degree that inspires respect. Inherent nobility and worth, the respect and honor associated with an important position. We are in an important position right now to free Mr. Larry Hoover Sr. And we can do this, brothers and sisters. We can do it. Stand on your word. Loyalty. Loyalty, brothers and sisters, is service and cooperation with an organized scheme of things. You let us be unified and consolidated in our efforts to free Mr. Larry Hoover Sr. Let us be unified and consolidated in our efforts to honor our word. Let us make our word our bond. No matter the difficulties we may face, no matter how many obstacles may come, let us make our word our bond. Love, honor, and respect to our leadership. Love, honor, and respect to all my brothers and sisters. I hope we will consider the message in this letter and hold fast to what we say. May our words forever be our bond. Thank you for your time, beloved brothers and sisters.